Hello and welcome to a new Let's Play. Now we've just finished Final Fantasy 1. There is another video that might go out, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, this is a new playthrough. Blood Omen. It's one of my favorite games. Well, actually, I guess this isn't one of my favorite games. Soul Reaver is one of my favorite games. Blood Omen kind of doesn't. Like, I'm really bad at 2D games, so I'm not really sure where Blood Omen fits in this kind of like weird favorite game list. But anyway, I love the series Legacy of Kain. I've already played Soul Reaver on the channel. God, I want to play Soul Reaver 2 soon. So we should get on that pretty soon. But for now, we're playing Blood Omen. Great game. You know, here's the thing, right? There's a new game coming out called Dead House Sonata. Now, it's made by Dennis Dyack, the same guy who was, you know, like the owner of Silicon Knights, the guys who made Blood Omen. Now, they've basically said that Dead House Sonata is going to be a spiritual successor to Blood Omen. Now, I've stupidly, like, no offense to them, I've stupidly just spent like $30 on their alpha build of Dead House Sonata. I don't have the game yet. It's not out yet. It comes out at the end of the year, but it's a free-to-play game. It's a spiritual successor to Blood Omen, and I just dropped $30 on it so I could play it early. So the hype train worked for me, but the game doesn't look that great from what I'm seeing. I'm curious to see how it all works out. But Dead House Sonata aside, Blood Omen's great. At the very least, Blood Omen's great. So, just before I start, this game is really hard to get up and running. So, especially on PC these days. And I wanted to play the PC version because I've never played it. I'm playing the PS. Sorry, this is PC version with mods. The PS1 version just runs like trash. Doesn't look great either. So for the effort, please consider liking, subscribing, and you know, whoever owns the rights to Blood Omen, I think it's Eidos, please re-release the game with like a patch or something. It'd make life so much easier.
There is a magical operation of maximum importance. The initiation of a new aeon. When it becomes necessary to utter a word, the whole planet must be bathed in blood.
So I should mention as well, there is a ton of talking in this game, like loads and loads and loads of talking. So I do have the subtitle mod on, so if I speak over anything, I'm sorry, but you can read it at the bottom. You know, I really tried to get the remastered cutscenes for you guys in here, but it's a weird file format and I couldn't be bothered figuring it out. But if you go on YouTube, these cutscenes are available in 4K and they look weird. I mean, they don't look particularly great here, but
Call your dogs. They can feast on your corpses.
God, I love this game. Or I love like the series, like the way that this all kind of connects in Horny Jail. The way that this all connects in later games.
You are hereby damned. The pleasures of the flesh are no longer yours. You have but one purpose, damned warrior. You will serve us for eternity.
Malik, the Invisible Knight. Look at this world building.
Best be on your way, stranger. What? No mug of ale for a weary traveller from distant Corhagen? I can reward you well, for I am of noble blood. I stay open for no man in these dark times. Things come with the night that no sane man would welcome. And so I left, cold of heart and soul.
All right.
Forced to the road and the long, bitter night.
That's going to happen a lot. There's so much talking in this game. Welcome to Blood Omen. This is what Blood Omen is. It's a top-down action RPG with about 3 voice actors, as you might have heard. So the late great Tony J, who is the voice of, you know, the guy there, Martanius, the guy who made Malik Invisible. He was also the voice of the Elder God in Soul Reaver, if you've seen my playthrough. They're not the same character, they're just the same voice. And just like how Simon Templeman, the voice of Cain, we're playing as here in the white armor, it's the same voice as the bartender. It's just how these things work, okay? Just don't question it. So yeah, we've learned, you know, shit's going down in this land of Nosgoth, and there's a lot of setup, and the bartender's kicking us out because he's like, shit's going down at night and I'm not being a part of it, so I get out my pub. Okay, now we're being attacked by ruffians. Oh god, there's even more. All right, guys, kill me.
End it now.
They victors, suffering to the conquered. Ironic that now I was the one suffering. Not anything as pedestrian as physical pain, rather the cruel jab of impotent anger. The hunger for revenge. I didn't care if I was in heaven or hell. All I wanted was to kill my assassins. Sometimes you get what you wish for. The necromancer Mortanius offered me a chance for vengeance, and like a fool, I jumped at his offer without considering the cost. Nothing is free, not even revenge.
I always thought Mortanius's chest piece was like really weird. Couldn't tell if it was like his body, like his rib cage hanging out.
The blood you hunger for.
I awoke to the pain of a new existence, in a dank womb of darkness and decay. The sanctuary spell enables me to travel to my crypt, where the soil of my grave provides me respite. I often resort to this when I am weak and need nourishment.
So I'm going to do my best to kind of not talk over Cain, because he does provide a lot of valuable information and a lot of world building. So it's going to be a weird let's play. I'm kind of going to take it chill, if that's all right, you know, and just kind of like sit back and play the game and just let Cain do all the talking for the most part. And I'll just chime in from time to time.
Reputed to have been ripped from the chest of the greatest vampire to have ever existed, Janos Audron, the heart of darkness restores vampiric unlife. Life is precious, Janos discovered, as it was torn, throbbing and bleeding from his own body. This ancient vial bears with it a dark gift indeed, for with it my life force is increased.
So over there you have your health upgrade. Over here we have magic upgrades. We actually don't have any magic right now, so
These ancient symbols of power contain raw magical energy that increases my own capacity to summon energy for the spawning of spells.
So what I think that will do...
Within the walls of these chambers I could find
Mind,
respite.
Cain, you just go on. You just talk. It's fine.
And if I so chose, resume my journey when my weariness abated.
So we just received a spell called Sanctuary, and that'll allow us to teleport back to here, you know, Cain's mausoleum. should we kind of want a quick travel back,
The world
basically.
had changed to my eyes. I had not expected such cruelty from the light. For in the embrace of the sun I could find no comfort, only malice. This would change in time for the worse, along with other things. When rainfall comes, vampires are wise to find shelter from its acidic touch.
I love the voice acting in this game. It is absolutely a step above the rest. It's really unlike any game of the time. I think this is what, 96, 97? You know, this is like, gosh, I mean, this is like the same time as Final Fantasy VII, right? Can you imagine Final Fantasy VII having like Final Fantasy VII on PS1 having voice acting anywhere near close to this? You know, this was a purposeful design choice to have solid voice acting from the get-go, and I think it really pays off, especially for the world. You know, the game isn't, if you look at the game technically, I guess you could genuinely say it's not a badly made game, but the combat leaves a lot to be desired. I think kind of 8-direction combat, and you kind of just wave your sword at people. I think gosh, I mean, it could have been done better, is what I'm kind of trying to say. I believe the intention they were going for when they were making the game was a dark Zelda.
Devices hurl bolts of whirling energy and eviscerate my human enemies by stripping ragged flesh from blood-stained bone.
Fun item. Hopefully we'll get to use them shortly. Yeah, I think the original idea for this game was to kind of be a dark Zelda. So, you know, you go in these dungeons, you get an ability, and you use the ability in the dungeon to get through said dungeon. That's the Zelda formula right there. I would say they kind of work. They did it, but I would also say the combat in Zelda is better than you know, Kane Blood Omen. Although combat is something that all Legacy of Kain games have suffered through, because Soul Reaver doesn't have the best combat either. I will admit, Defiance actually has some pretty good combat in it. Defiance is the last well, I suppose it's the last Legacy of Kain game.
No bar to vengeance's call. I would find my slayers and send them back whence I came.
I'll kill you, if we put you down once, we could do it again.
What trickery is this? Their sneering faces were forever etched upon my memory. I had crossed death for this moment. My mind was empty save for one thought. I would kill. There is no greater release than that from vengeance sated. With my assassins dead, my quest was over.
'Tis not over, Cain. These fools were merely the instruments of your murder, not the cause. Look to their masters, look to the pillars, and gain way to the fortress of the mind.
This was where the bloody deed of my murder took place. I would not be kind to the denizens that lurk here. They would taste my steel, and I their blood.
It's also worth noting as well that Kain is an anti-hero. He's not a nice guy. Oh god. Yeah, this is the... That's a different design, but this is the bar we left. We came over here and we died here somewhere. That's funny how the bar is different. I guess it kind of shows times past, maybe? So what's cool as well is that these people are sleeping. God, he's got his arms out. I didn't realize that. These people are sleeping, and while they're sleeping, you can have a little nom nom. Yummy. What's pretty cool as well is I know, you know, typically in like a kind of let's play fashion, you're basically gonna see someone take the piss out of the game for a couple hours, and then they finish it and probably end up, you know, loving it or whatever. I'm gonna try and not take the piss, because I genuinely think it's such a good game, and not only a good game, I think that the storytelling and the voice acting, like the world building, it's just so freaking good. And yeah, like, Kane is an anti-hero. He's not really someone you're supposed to like.
The necromancer had offered me no warning as to what my resurrection would entail, and yet I must confess in my haste I had not sought one. Was his gift a curse? I would seek the pillars for an answer.
So the pillars are what we saw in the start, I believe, when they all got cracked and stuff. We're going to learn a bit more about them. See, like, Kane laughs when he kills people. You know, imagine Link. Imagine Link laughing as he just cuts down these people. Like, it doesn't happen, you know? Kane is such a dick. And it's funny, thinking back, that Soul Reaver did use this lore. So this is the canon start to...
Dawns,
I'll let...
and with it, the vampire grows stronger. The pillars of Nosgoth. Even in life, few sights have moved me such as this. I marvel that such beauty should grace our dying world.
I just find it so crazy, you know, that Soul Reaver used this lore, because it's quite rare that you see a game, you know, cross over boundaries like that. But also, this is the start of Kane's story. So when you're, you know, when you're having to deal through time travel jargon in Soul Reaver, this is the reason why.
Nopraptor, your madness has shattered our dreams and blinded you.
Keep your distance, or I'll send you back to hell, spirit!
There is nothing left of me to fear, vampire. I'm only a shadow of my former self, Ari, the balance of the Circle of Nine. Even so, I can provide the answers you seek.
I seek only a cure.
There is no cure for death, only release. You must destroy the sorcery that is now poisoning Nosgoth. Only then will you realize peace. The 9 of the Protectors of Hope were sworn to use their powers to preserve our world. Now these pillars have been corrupted by a traitor. My murder at the hands of this beast drove my love Nopraptor mad. Now he spreads misery and pain among the Circle, crumbling the very foundation of Nosgoth. You must restore balance. You must right the pillars of Nosgoth.
I care not for the fate of this world.
Then for yourself, Cain. Beware the unspoken.
Nopraptor, with his blind act of
I'm gonna let Cain
vengeance,
talk
threatened to
further.
destroy all of Nosgoth. Each Circle member was bonded to the pillar he served. The pillars reflected the mental state of their servants, and as the minds of the Circle degenerated and descended farther into dementia, the pillars crumbled. To restore them, each member of the Circle had to die, and the artifact that served as their link to the pillar had to be returned. Only when all the pillars were restored did Ariel claim my curse would end. And so, my hunt for Nopraptor began.
Yeah, so basically, you know, to explain a little bit further, I guess, you know, Cain was brought back from death to get his revenge, and he got his revenge. Now he wants to die again, I guess. And the only way to do that is to restore these pillars, or so they said. And to restore the pillars, we have
pillar
to...
of nature, protected by the druid Bane.
And to restore the pillars, we have to go and kill their guardians, basically, and return an item back to them, which is pretty cool. Man, the texture work here is really weird. And I just noticed that the tiles are all like messed up. Wonder if that's just a bug from the mod.
The pillar of the mind, protected by the mentalist Nupraptor.
You know, it looks like a brain.
The pillar of dimension, protected by the planar azimuth. The pillar of conflict, protected by the paladin Malik. The pillar of energy, protected by the energist Dejul. The pillar of time, protected by the time streamer Mobius.
Oh god. Mobius is a name that crops up a lot in these games.
As daylight chases darkness, the vampire's power wanes. The pillar of death, protected by the necromancer Mortanius.
Can't seem to
The pillar
trigger.
of states, protected by the alchemist Anacroth. The pillar of balance, once defended by Ariel. The pillars choose their own.
I wonder who the pillar of balance belongs to. We'll see. I think there's an interesting story element to the pillars that will be apparent later on. Can I talk to Ariel without hitting her? No, can't talk to her. Alright, so I think we're just going to head off on our next mission, right? Which is over to the left. The pillars are probably one of the most important lore areas in the Legacy of Kain series, and you come here a lot. I mean a lot. So it's important to somewhat remember this area, I guess. We'll be here a lot, so you don't have to remember anything, but this is a key area in the lore. So yeah, either way, I'll tell you what, we'll end it here. Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed what you saw, then please consider subscribing and liking. I'll see you next time for the next episode of Legacy of Kain Blood Omen.